This is Minister Sean Lewis back with another weekly snack, and I'm excited about this week's snack. This week's snack comes from Psalm 16, verse 11. You make known to me the path of life. You will fill me with joy in your presence, with eternal pleasures at your right hand. I want to talk from the subject, press in God's presence. Press in God's presence. Let's tell the truth and shame the devil. We love being in the presence of certain people. Matter of fact, we're coming up on almost a year in this COVID-19 pandemic. And one of the unfortunate things of this COVID-19 pandemic is we haven't been able to be in each other's presence. I mean, each other's presence at Bible study, in each other's presence on Sundays, in each other's presence if we just want to gather without our mask, without worrying about whether somebody has COVID-19. When we're in each other's presence, we can be excited, we can be giggly, we can be just flat out happy to see each other. Because when we're in a certain person's presence, there's just something that happens. And although we may like being in each other's presence, I would like to make the argument that our presence does not compare to the presence of God. I know over this past year, we may have pressed to be in somebody's presence at brunch, pressed to be in somebody's presence at the park. But when is the last time that we've pressed to be in God's presence? In the Bible, Psalm 16, verse 11 says, you make known to me the path of life. You will fill me with joy in your presence. There is something about being in the presence of Almighty God. Matter of fact, David says, in your presence, there is a fullness of joy. And I don't know who needs to hear this, but while you're pressing to be in your boo's presence, while you're pressing to be in your bae's presence, while you may be pressing to be in the presence of somebody at happy hour or in brunch, press to be in the presence of God. Because there's a guarantee that if you hang around God long enough, there will be joy in his presence. There'll be peace in his presence. There'll be love in his presence. There'll be laughter in his. Matter of fact, there'll just be joy in his presence. So I just want to tell somebody, press into God's presence. You may ask me, Minister Sean, how can I press into God's presence? Well, I'm glad you're so inquisitive. Start your day with God, end your day with God. Listen to some music, listen to some songs, and tell God what he means to you. And also it says, at your right hand, there are pleasures forevermore. I'll talk about it. Listen, there are some fleshly pleasures that we indulge in that are not good for our mental or our spiritual. But however, when we encounter the pleasures of God, they aren't deadly, but they are liberating and life-giving. Can I repeat that one more time? They are not deadly, but they are liberating and life-giving. So not only will you have joy, but you will have liberating pleasures that will keep you in the midst of whatever you're going through. Pressed, not to happy hour. Press, not to brunch, but press in God's presence and let him blow your mind. God bless.